Oh, no, there's no escape, my sweet little plum.
All right, Mike, I think we've seen enough of that. Wow, it's gotta be the strangest thing I've ever seen.
I hear that.
Just got this in last night.
All right, listen up. The students that have been coming up to work the resort on this side of the lake have been disappearing right and left.
The local authorities didn't have a clue until our surveillance teams tapped into the winery house right there and taped everything you just saw.
What about the cameras and the traps?
Probably security.
What?
We suspect they're using the winery house as a cover, and they're getting anyone who stumbles onto their scheme, whatever that is.
Mike. This is Kelly.
Kid.
Come on, isn't she a little young?
She's young. She's one of our best.
She'll also be working inside. And remember, no one goes in until we get the signal from her.
I want to know more about these traps.
Yeah.
That's one thing we've got going for us.
How's that?
One of our guys put an override on the camera cable unit here in the back hallway.
Which means?
Which means we have complete control of the cameras and the traps.
But who operates that?
They do.
And who's that?
I'm not exactly certain. Special operators from Control. But we gotta work together on this one. Any questions?
Let's rock and roll. Let's do it.
Be careful out there, huh? And you keep your eyes open. We're all depending on you, especially Kelly. She should be there now. I'll switch you over. And good luck.
Ones too, you know. You are a very special boy. We both know that. But you must start doing your job. We all have...
If you don't get on the ball, I'm sorry.
Oh, che cretini.
Tonight, Dad.
Well, we have to bottle the 2 downstairs. And Sarah's coming in with 6 more tonight.
6? Yep.
The problem...
These have to go too.
Whoa, 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 what's this?
This is so embarrassed.
No, this isn't exactly what I have imagined.
Carving augers.
Those animals.
They're here.
Good. Come down. Looks like a healthy bunch.
Yes, it should be a good weekend.
Too bad we must...
Hi. Hi. I was so afraid you decided not to come. Ashley.
Hi.
Meg.
Enchanté.
What?
Tu parles français, toi?
Oh, no, thank you.
Pity. Things around here.
Hey, come on, everyone. Let's go down to the lake.
Yes, Victor and I will take care of everything.
Guys, come on.
Bye.
Oh, Sarah. Victor and I have to make a visit to the Augers tonight. A delivery, actually. I'm sure you and...
Glorious little bunch. What's wrong?
Well, there's something about Kelly. Go. We don't want to upset the Augers. I want you to go downstairs and... We should be leaving them here alone.
Why not?
Well, do you think they can handle it?
Of course they can. What could possibly go wrong? Come on, darling.
Party! Music!
I'm going in for a closer look. Radio silence till I get back.
cousin, Tony.
What's this? We got problems.
And my gracious brother, Jeff.
Taking control of the system.
If not, we'll have to do it the old-fashioned way.
I could take all weekend. I got plans.
Yeah.
Lisa, I'm fine.
Come on, Lisa.
Lisa.
Look, it was your job to protect Kelly and the rest of those girls. But from what I've just seen, the place is being overrun. You've missed way too many of those suckers. Now, until you figure out how to do your job and do it right, you're dismissed. Breaking contact.
I was young once too, you know. You are a very special boy. We both know that. But you must start doing your job.
Yeah, I'll dawn on you if you don't get on the ball. I'm sorry.
Oh, che cretini.
What's happening tonight, Dad?
Well, we have to bottle the 2 downstairs, and Sarah's coming in with 6 more tonight.
6? Yep.
Delivery.
That's no problem.
I'm not so sure.
These have to go too.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I am so embarrassed.
No, this isn't exactly what I imagined, though.
Has anybody seen my chamois bag?
Which one? You got about 1,000,000 of them.
Back off, Birdface. You just better be glad I brought you along.
The only reason you brought me along is because Mom made you.
Shut up!
Well, I can tell this is gonna be fun.
You with me, Control? We're going in.
Hi. Hi. I was so afraid you decided not to come. Ashley?
Hi.
Tu parles français, toi?
Oh, no. This is a beautiful house, Mrs. Horton. Oh, please, just call me Sheila.
everyone. Let's go down to the lake.
Yes, Victor and I will take care of everything.
Guys, come on.
Bye. Oh, Sarah. Victor and I have to make a visit to the Augers tonight. A delivery, actually. I'm sure...
Bye, girls. Have fun. Curious little bunch. What's wrong?
Well, there's something about Kelly.
Again, huh?
Monster. Come on, let's go. We don't want to upset the Augers. Now, Jeffrey, I want you to go downstairs and change the trap access code from blue to red.
Don't worry, Mom. It's all in the fingers.
Good hunting.
Think they can handle it?
Of course they can. What could possibly go wrong? Come on, darling. The Augers are waiting.
Oh, what's the first thing you think of? Party! Music!
Jason.
This is my cousin, Tony.
What's this? We got problems.
And my gracious brother, Jeff.
I think someone's taking control of the system.
We'll see if you can get it fixed. If not, we'll have to do it the old-fashioned way.
I got plans.
Yeah.
Lisa, come on, Lisa. Lisa.
What's going on?
That girl looks exactly like Madeline.
Oh, not that.
Oh, now this.
Great.
Oh, sure, go ahead. Okay. Hey, Sarah, where's...
Here goes nothing, Chief.
Just no heroics, huh?
Count on it. I think we should give him the old Jamaican number, huh, Chief? And out.
Megan, it could be a lot worse.
Come on, look at this stuff. You know, they should test this stuff on rats before they let people like you play with it.
Right, and how would they do that, Megan?
With a little rat. See, first you put him in a chair with a clamp. Ouch! Oh, no, Miss Lisa. That was too tight.
Yeah, well...
Mrs. Collins, over.
Do that.
What'd you like?
Good.
Sounds good.
Ice cream.
Sundays.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Fresh cookies and ice cream.
Megan, this isn't gonna work. You're not scaring me. Wait. What are you doing? No! Leave me alone! No!
Let's go outside.
Come on, we gotta talk.
Come on, we gotta get out of here. They're after us.
Yeah, nice try.
We got big, big problems.
What?
The Augs are here.
All right. Upstairs and reset the access code to purple.
What's the matter? You all right?
I guess I was just surprised.
What do you want?
Well, I just wanted to...
Is everybody all right? Hey, look, I don't think it's a good idea for you to be hanging around here at night. Why don't you just go home, okay?
Wait! You're in danger!
You seen those things too? What are they?
Well, they're called...
Suck blood?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, the guy really scares me.
Ashley, can I trust you?
Yeah? Why?
I'm working undercover, and you and the other girls might be in terrible danger.
Well, what do you mean?
I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'd like you to stay in your room and be careful. I'm going to check out the rest of the house, okay?
Okay.
Listen, things are getting really weird around here. Keep your eyes open and watch out for the other girls. I'll be right back.
You scared me.
Ashley, you must leave now.
Why?
And just leave now.
Ah! Hold it!
You stay out of this!
Don't make me use this, Tony.
Did you really think that this stupid little toy could protect you? This is useless against us. You'd never understand.
You okay, Ashley? Hey, Tony, wait. What is going on around here?
Just go now.
Tony, why are you warning us?
Definitely.
Ew!
Sadie, you're making...
Yeah, this is great.
You guys?
Oh, no. Yeah, he is. Jeff and I have some cleaning up to do first.
Let's go down to the control room. Maybe Tony has seen the Augs.
Gotcha.
I'd feel better if we switched the code again to red. We don't want anyone else to get control.
I don't know. I
Not that bad.
Yes, it is. Do you realize it's the first time I've had the car the entire weekend and I wind up in the middle of nowhere? It's embarrassing, Cindy. And Sarah said it was going to be an exciting weekend.
Well, give it a chance. Tomorrow we'll go water skiing and the lake will be crawling with boys. Come on, Megan, let's get something to eat.
Cindy!
And just leave now.
Ah! Hold it!
You stay out of...
Get this.
Wow.
You okay, Ashley?
Follow me.
Wait, don't shoot. It's me. Listen, I don't fool him.
You're one of the others.
Okay, you check in there, and I'll check down there.
Sadie, you're...
Holly, I'm so confused.
Yeah, this is great.
scares me.
Let's go down to the control room. Maybe Tony has seen the Augs.
Gotcha.
I'd feel better if we switched the code again to red. We don't want anyone else to get control.
And watch out for the other girls. I'll be right back.
You scared me.
Ashley, you must leave now. Grave danger.
Tony, I don't understand.
You'd never understand. Just leave now.
Ah! Hold it!
You stay out of this!
Don't make me use this, Tony.
Did you... Stupid little toy could... My family, my kind. You'd never understand.
You okay, Ashley? Hey, Tony, wait!
Wait! Don't shoot!
Go now.
Tony, why are you warning us?
You remind me of a person I knew and loved long ago. But that could never be.
Kelly, I'm so confused. What's going on?
Oh, just relax. Yeah, this is great.
Come in.
Come on, you guys, just relax. Come on, come on. Listen. Scat. We have the whole house surrounded. We've taken control of all the traps and surveillance cameras in the house. There's one right there. Can they... Calm down. Are you with us, Control? Control, you've got to be with us. What are you doing? I'm talking to Control. There's a camera right there. Use the trap! No!
And yes, you could have saved her. You were responsible for her life, and you screwed up. There's a lot going on in this house. Too bad you're not going to be around to see any more of it. Breaking contact.
That guy is definitely disturbed.
Hey!
Why don't you go ahead? Jeff and I have some cleaning up to do first.
Let's go down to the control room. Maybe Tony has seen the Augs.
I'd feel better if we switched the code again to red. We don't want anyone else to get control.
Up in the middle of nowhere. It's embarrassing, Cindy. And Sarah said it was going to be an exciting weekend.
Well, give it a chance. Tomorrow we'll go water skiing, and the lake will be crawling with... Oh, Megan, let's get something to eat.
Cindy! Hold it! I can't believe this. I come up here for fast boys and fast boats, and I get this.
Hey, let's...
All you think about is food.
Serious. Eddie made these laser guns to fight off the Augs.
Augs?
We gotta tell everybody else.
Wait, don't shoot. It's me. Listen, I don't fool him.
Gotta warn the others.
Okay, you check in there, and I'll check down.
You're making a mess.
That tastes like blood.
Yeah.
Mike, this is Kelly. Come in.
Roger, Kelly. This is Mike.
Code red.
Right.
Girls are all over the house. Mike, be careful.
Yeah, this is great.
Mike, come in. Leader, this is Mike. Come in.
There's a dead body. There's blood everywhere. Following us.
Just relax. Come on. Come on. Scat. We have the whole house surrounded. We've taken control of all the traps and surveillance cameras in the house. There's one right there. Are you with us, Control? Control, you... What are you doing? I'm talking to Control. There's a camera right there. I think they're coming. To the door. Okay. Use the trap!
She wouldn't listen.
Victor, there are Augs all over the place.
One of ours?
What is it, dear?
Someone's been overriding our system. But I'll take care of that. Stand back, darling.
Be careful, Victor.
Now we're back in control.
How exciting.
Come, darling. Let's get the controller.
Yes.
I'll switch everyone back to this camera. Hello. I hope you've been having fun. Now it's our turn. Pity you won't be here for the rest of the show.
Bye.
Let's go.
Oh, no. Why don't you go ahead? Jeff and I have some cleaning up to do first. Let's go down to the control room. Maybe Tony has seen the Augs.
Gotcha.
I'd feel better if we switched the code again to red. We don't want anyone else to get control. Careful.
The rest of the house okay?
Okay. Tony!
Cindy!
Did you?
We gotta tell everybody else. Follow me.
Wait, don't shoot. It's me. Listen, I don't fool him.
You're one of the others.
Okay. Check down there.
Be careful. Yeah, this is great.
Mike, come in.
There are these big creatures following us.
Come on, you guys, just relax. Scat. We have the whole house surrounded. We've taken control of all the traps and surveillance cameras in the house. There's one right there.
tried to warn you, but you wouldn't.
Talking
Ashley, I tried to say.
What is it, dear?
To interfere, and now you will.
I'm not quite sure what.
What shall we do?
I don't like this at all. I don't like it at all.
Oh, thanks, Control.
Hold it right there.
Hey! Hold it!
Where are the girls?
Let's look upstairs.
Oh, you're back.
Sarah, what is going on?
The Augs are here.
Oh, we suspected as much when they didn't show up for the delivery.
They set us up.
Oh, Victor, they're just hungry.
Where are Jeff and Tony?
They're downstairs. Someone else has taken control of the traps.
Who's that?
Special Control Attack Team.
Why don't we all go into the living room and get comfortable?
Will you just take it nice and easy, folks? Because it's not been a good...
I should inform you now, Mr. Martin. Your house has been under surveillance for some...
Really?
A number of kids have been disappearing in this area, and most of them have been traced back to this.
Be her idea.
No, darling, it was your brilliant craftsmanship.
Hello, Das.
What'd you say? I don't like this dude, man.
You see, Lieutenant, we were trying to help the unfortunate Aug.
Victim who's been half bled and left there to die.
Poor creatures have just enough blood to survive, but not enough to become vampires.
Poor creatures.
Wicked curse. Wandering about looking for blood, hoping one day to become a vampire.
Ew.
Vampires? You gotta be jabbing me. Let's cuff these freaks and drag them downtown.
Hold it! I don't think you understand, Mr. Martin, but you're in serious trouble here.
No, Lieutenant. I'm afraid it is you who doesn't understand.
Jeffrey, are you all right?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. What's going on? Where's Tony?
Definitely disturbed.
Hey, let's go swimming. Oh, no. Why don't you go ahead? Jeff and I have some cleaning up to do first.
Some weekend.
Sarah's acting a little weird.
A little weird. Come on, Cindy. Everyone around here is totally flipped out. This place is a disaster zone.
Come on, Megan, it's not that bad.
Yes, it is. Do you realize it's the first time I've had the car the entire weekend, and I wind up in the middle of nowhere? Cindy. And Sarah said it was going to be an exciting weekend.
Well, give it a chance. Tomorrow we'll go water skiing, and the lake will be crawling with boys.
That's it.
Leave now!
When I get this.
Wow.
We got it. You okay, Ashley?
Here. Just me. This I don't fool him.
You're one of the others.
Okay, you check in there, and I'll check down there.
Careful.
Mike, this is Kevin.
Yeah, this is great.
Leader coming in. Mike, come in. Leader, this is Mike. Come in.
Yeah, relax. Tell me what's going on.
There's a dead body. There's blood everywhere. These big creatures following us.
Come on, you guys. Just relax. Come on. Come on. Full of all the cameras in the house. There's one right there. To be with us.
What are you doing?
I'm talking to control. There's a camera right there. Use the trap!
Thank you. Thank you. You don't know.
She was almost free!
Megan is dead. And yes, you could have saved her.
You were responsible for her life, and you screwed up. There's a lot going on in this house. Too bad you're not going to be around to see any more of it. Breaking contact.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up too. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Well, how about you guys?
Oh, no. Why don't you go ahead? Jeff and I have some cleaning up to do first.
Let's go down to the control room. Maybe Tony has seen the Augs.
Gotcha.
I'd feel better if we switched the code again to green. We don't want anyone else to get control. Careful. I'm gonna check out the rest of the house, okay?
Okay.
Listen, things are getting really weird around here. Keep your eyes open and watch out for the... I'll be right back.
Cindy!
Wow. Really think. You'd never understand.
You okay, Ashley? Tony, what is going on around here?
Tony, why are you warning us?
You remind me of long ago, but that could never be.
That tastes like blood.
Come in, over. Mike, this is Kelly. Come in.
Roger, Kelly. This is Mike.
Stairs, but the girls are all over. Yeah, this is great. Mike, I'm not... Control of all surveillance cameras in the house. There's one right there. Help us? Yes, they can, but you have to... that they are, Megan. I can't stand it! Megan, no! Megan, run! You're trapped, Patrol! Tony, this is all it's...
I tried to warn you, but you wouldn't listen.
Listen to what? What are you talking about?
Ashley, I tried to save her from the Oggs, but you had to interfere, and now you will pay.
Tony, I don't understand. This is crazy.
Don't be foolish, Kelly. They wouldn't stand in my way. Would you?
Code Red, hit it.
Hey! Hold it!
Upstairs.
Oh, you're back.
Sarah, what is going on?
The Oggs are here.
Oh, we suspected as much when they didn't show up for the delivery.
They set us up.
Oh, Victor, they're just hungry.
Where are Jeff and Tony?
They're downstairs in the control room. Someone else has taken control of the cameras and the traps.
Who's that? Kelly, you all... Oh, what is the meaning of this? Please, that won't be necessary.
Who are you?
We're SCAT, Special Control Attack Team. You've got some explaining to do.
Well, in that case, then, why don't we all go into the living room and get comfortable?
Will you just take it nice and easy, folks? Because it's not been a good night for me, you dig?
I should inform you now, Mr. Martin. Your house has been under surveillance for some time.
Really?
A number of kids have been disappearing in this area.
Help me understand that, would you please, Mr. Martin?
Her idea.
Oh, darling, it was your brilliant...
Hello, Das.
What'd you say? I don't like this dude, man.
You see, Lieutenant, we were trying to...
A victim who's been half-bled and left there to die.
Poor creatures have just enough blood to survive, but not enough to become vampires.
Poor creatures.
Yes. Wandering about looking for blood, hoping one day to become a vampire.
Ew.
Vampires, you gotta be jabbing me. Let's cuff these freaks and drag them downtown.
Hold it! I don't think you understand, Mr. Martin, but you're in serious trouble here.
No, Lieutenant. I'm afraid it is you who doesn't understand.
Jeffrey, are you all right?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. What's going on? Where's Tony?
are we going to do with the others?
Don't worry about them. Now, let's go and get that.
Control, you gotta help me!
She went up the stairs.
Oh, Victor.
After you.
Après toi, ma chérie.
Oh, this is so...
Gotta help me!
Oh,
Use the trap!
A closet trap!
But it was going to be a surprise.
Thanks. Please use the traps.
The wall trap!
Yeah! You're the only one that can save me. You're all mine now. No! Thanks, Control. You just saved my life. And you were very good. You saved all my friends. Trapped most of the Oggs. I'll bet with a little practice you could be perfect.
Love is easy by the light of day. Right on, Victor? This over here at this point?
Yep, it's right there. Ready? Here we go. And action.
I find that so extremely offensive, and the only word you can say to the manufacturers and the shareholders of the company is shame on you. Shame, shame, shame on you.
Mark, hold it right there.
Shame on people that produce that trash. It's child abuse, in my judgment.
I don't like it at all.
Mark.
About 2 months ago, I saw the video game Night Trap for the first time. It is a sick, disgusting video game, in my judgment.
There's the drill. That's the guy with the drill.
Yeah, that is the guy with the drill. But
we mustn't catch him or we don't see the gratuitous violence.
It's an effort to trap and kill women.
For the first month or so, I would see Tom and I would say, there is the evil man that made Night Trap. And he'd say, there is the evil man that made Night Trap. But it was a joke for a while. Then the joke started getting serious until a friend of my family's called me and said, hey, did you know Captain Kangaroo came on TV today and said that Night Trap was a bad game?
The danger arises when the subject of the software is of a violent nature.
And that's where it got very serious for me, because I loved Captain Kangaroo.
Well, I mean, God, it was on the front page of USA Today, it was on the front page of the Washington Post, it was on the front page of the New York Times. It was so new, it was so revolutionary at the time that it first came out that it was ideal fodder for somebody who wanted to use it as a political hand grenade.
Your bullets can't hurt me.
And when we see the new generation of video games, and especially Night Trap and several other examples, in my judgment, they've gone too far.
You're the only one that can save me. My son and I, Tyler, who's 11 now, we went to rent a movie. And the gentleman said to me, he says, hey, you know, Dana, they took your game off the market. And I said, what? Why? He said, well, obviously there's a bunch of controversy behind it. And I said, oh, really? And that's how I heard. It's not violent, you know, in any sense. It's not violent, it's not gory, it's not anything like that at all. And the object of the game is to save the girls that go in for the slumber party. Way to go, Control. I knew you could do it.
Our state of mind about creating some horrible, frightening thing.
So, you're the troublemaker.
It was really, how many Augs can we trap in the house?
The guy from the New York Times called me and he said, we hear these terrible things are happening. And that was like one of the first phone calls I got, that these games are really violent and people, you know, are really up in arms about them. And I was saying, have you seen Night Trap?
Oh, they're the Augs, by God.
Evil Augs.
They are evil. You can just tell by the way they're hopping along.
I'm afraid the Augs aren't our biggest problem.
The horrible sex and violence scene is in the bathroom. Right here, X marks the spot. This is where Elisa gets it. She is in a nightgown, so I guess this is the scantily clad part. And there's, you know, an Aug in the shower. I mean, it was funny. You could hear people laughing on the set because it is.
I don't see why it would be titillating. I had on a spaghetti strap nightgown. It was cute. It was peach. I think it had a little flowers here.
The whole sort of reason for having that thing that goes around the neck of the kids that get nailed was to make it something that was sort of so phantasaical and something so non-replicable that there wouldn't be any chance that anybody could mistake it for reality.
Ooh, so scary.
A controversial scene.
This is actually the reason why there's ratings on video games now.
We prefer self-regulation to government regulation, but make no mistake about it, we will move ahead if you do not.
The one good thing that came from Night Trap is that it created a rating system for titles.
I flew to Washington to go to these hearings. In the morning of the hearings, they announced to us, they told me, gee, you know, we're really sorry. Thanks so much for coming. We're really sorry, but we decided that there isn't any time to hear your testimony today. And then at some point in the hearings, Dorgan is reading from, he says, yeah, and it's a shame Mr. Zito couldn't be here to defend this horrible filth that this company is putting out. I said, Senator, I am here and I'd be happy to talk about it. You're out of order. Just, be quiet back there.
See, these people are crazy.
That I actually did see TV reports that the object of the game was to kill and rape sexy co-eds.
There was absolutely no sex.
Sex? I mean, unless you're attracted to large, dark objects that go like this, there wasn't any.
Wait.
Hey,
Actually,
did you see where she just bumped into? Good Lord. It's gratuitous, the sex.
At the end of the hearings, I walked up to Lieberman and I said to him, Senator, have you ever actually played this game? And he said, I don't have to. This is filth.
And I think that Night Trap was kind of thrown to the wolves as bait. Like, here, have this one.
I want to state that Night Trap will never appear on a Nintendo system. Obviously, it would not pass our guidelines.
You know, when all this TV coverage was going on, I was on a TV show, and when I needed the Night Trap footage, it was Nintendo that was like, oh, we'll send it to you.
Howard, I owe all the sales of Night Trap to you.
Want to sell something to 16-year-old boys? Get it banned by Toys R Us. You can't keep enough of a supply at the warehouse.
I've had some controversy in my life, and I just found it interesting that there was some controversy behind this also. But it's like this dark cloud, that just kind of follows me.
I have this horrible feeling that 20 years from now, somebody's going to call me and say, Jim, we want to do an interview, and I'm going to say, great, is it Wirehead? Is it this new show? And, no, Night Trap, the classic, the great, we want to get the behind the scenes of Night Trap. I'm going to be pulling this stupid binder out, every 5 years going, yeah, well, we had a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Nice girl.
Mark. Rick, will you tell these guys to stop bugging me?
My name is Jim Riley, and I was co-creator, writer, and director on Night Trap. This is mid-'80s. Nintendo is doing very well with their video games, right? Mario Brothers type stuff. Sega is doing pretty well. I was working with Nolan Bushnell on a series of interactive advertising and interactive retailing campaigns. And I got a call from a guy who was actually my neighbor, Rob Fulop, who had developed Demon Attack and a number of Atari games. And he knew of a guy named Tom Zito working at another Nolan Bushnell company that had actually been presented. There was a guy, an engineer, who came in with this wafer that allowed you to attach it to a VCR
and be able to interact with the video cartridge as your video source, but you could interact up to 4 choices at any one time. And they were trying to figure out what to do with it. So Rob knew that I had a background in live action interactive and introduced me to Tom. Tom wanted to put together some demos to take to Hasbro. And they said, so this is a relatively inexpensive addition to a VCR, and if we provide this enhancement, we can actually get into the video game business and allow us to compete. That's significant revenue, and now we're in the living room. We all came up with ideas, and my focus was more about these environments where you could go anywhere at any time or feel as if you could move more freely. One of the easiest ways to think of that is surveillance cameras. The first demo we did was Scene of the Crime to kind of test out, play test the idea of being able to move around through surveillance cameras and see how interesting that was. So in Scene of the Crime, the basic idea is that this wealthy man has a safe full of money in his library, and he has this new surveillance system where you, the participant, is the security guy. And he tells you to please watch the safe, and if anybody tries to break in, he wants to know about it.
Watch them with the cameras. If anyone tries anything, I want to know about it.
Then you can move around the house, switching cameras, to try to follow what's going on. Of course, everybody has a plot to steal the money. So you're trying to figure out who's involved, how it happens, and then after a 3 to 5 minute quick period, sure enough, somebody stole the money. The lights were out. It was hard to tell exactly who it was. You couldn't just sit in the room to figure it out. And then he says, okay, who did it? And then you guess. So really simple concept, but 4 of us flew back to Hasbro, pitched it to Stephen Hasenfeld and a boardroom of 22 executives. That day we got funding, significant funding, to start what became Digital Pictures. Then they said, okay, we want to do a title that uses this. And at that point, I was working on a number of other things, but I felt like surveillance cameras is great, but to have more effect on what happens, rather than just an observer looking at what's going on, if we could create some device that allowed participants to feel more engaged and be able to subtly change the story. Again, not branching or changing the ending, but in fact, be able to do something and watch how the story changes. And have to play it multiple times to really understand the subtleties of that. And that was the traps, which could be done even within this very limited environment. What happened, though, was, everybody started to realize, wow, this is tricky stuff. Part of it is that there was never a real formula. Hasbro decided that it didn't want to move forward. They began, I think, to understand that this is a significant investment. This is like starting a studio. We all went away, 1989, and then in 1992, Tom negotiated a deal with Sega, who had come up with the Sega CD, which was just powerful enough to stream. Back then, it's Donkey Kong, it's Mario Brothers, really simple pixelated graphics. And so all of a sudden, there was this option to play or experience a live-action interactive world that was all photoreal with real people, etc. So that I think was the initial excitement. And so when the Sega CD came out, everybody was just hats and horns, and this is fantastic, and look, we can interact with this. And we had a number of really interesting people that were experimenting, is really the best way to say it, with this sort of new platform. Not quite sure what it was. And everything from writers who were, having constructive arguments about interactive narrative, which is very tricky, right? A lot of people will say, we don't want people to look the wrong way or be doing. We want to control their experience and to give this to novice or non-filmmakers. It goes against everything that they've been trained to do. The other side of that is the game, is a video game. And a video game, a really good video game, is you have full control. You're actually, the world is very believable, full of fascinating characters, and you're motivated to do a number of things to achieve whatever the goal is. But it's a high level of interactivity, right? And that's more important than the believability of your environment, right? So those are the two extremes. Even back then, those were the two extremes. But there was this funny gray area, and nobody quite knew what to make of it. You know, we called it FMV or live action interactive or whatever those things were. We'd bring in a writer, a director, a game designer, a software programmer. There were all these different people sitting around a table speaking completely different languages, having very different sensibilities, trying to find some common ground. The first concept was to take the sort of wealthy guy and, you know, with a safe full of money to the extreme. So it was a billionaire who had, you know, Fort Knox in his house, modern house in Lake Tahoe. He was able to do this with comfort and leave knowing that he had this next generation security system, which included the latest surveillance cameras and also these traps and gadgets that would allow would allow the 24/7 security team to be able to trap any potential intruders. And so happens one weekend his daughter shows up for a slumber party with all of her teenage friends, and the house is attacked by ninja burglars. And the reason I thought ninjas would be the cool approach would be that they move in the shadows. You start off with this really simple, clean concept that, you know, could be refined and really have an edge to it and a look and stuff, and you end up with this thing that is a combination of bad notes over time. And somehow it went from ninjas focused on getting the money, you know, and the girls being able to, you know, they were sort of not the key, but they were very much caught in the mix, to vampires. There was this thing called reproducible violence. It's the first time I had heard that term, but it turns out to be a very real thing. And Hasbro in particular was very concerned about that. So we went into kind of the supernatural realm with the vampire. And they said, no, we don't want to see, you know, vampires biting the girls. So these were toothless vampires, and they could not move too quickly. So they actually had to be kind of sick. So they had to be toothless, sick vampires. I mean, it just kept getting worse. And the AUG term came because they really needed blood, and the only way they could get it was to auger in with a device like the trocar. That cleared as a non-reproducible violence. I thought that in our effort to homogenize this thing and make it more friendly and less scary, it actually was pretty creepy in terms of these, you know, strange characters walking around with the trocar. In this case, the script writing was so bizarre because you had to do two things. You had to create a world, then you had to navigate within that world. You had technical limits of what you could actually do, but you were cheating that to make it look like you could do anything. So that was a whole thing. And then for the moments, you could write a scene, but the scene had to motivate somebody to go somewhere else. But the script was not 120 pages. The script was like this, right, with a timeline. And people were going, how do I read this? I mean, it's kind of like, I'm okay, I'm here and what. Because everything was, by the way, time, right? Because you only had that much time for the scene. So blocking was very different. Rather than sitting down with the actors and saying, what's the intent here, and should you walk over here, and where should you? It was like, okay, we got you have 24 seconds. So how do we block this where you're going to end up going out that door, but it's got to look natural, right? Yeah. And you got to be out that door in 18 seconds, because in 18 seconds you're going to appear in the hallway. I walked around with a timeline. I think it became sort of a joke, which is, where are we now? And I'd have to take the timeline out, and it had 8 tracks, right? 4 at any one time with stills. And I would be able to figure out. So it was tricky. That we shot days and nights, sets and locations. I was surprised at how quickly everybody got into it. Right? It wasn't difficult for them to go, oh, I get it. Okay, so I'm going to be here, but I could be over there, and then depending on what happens with the AUG here, I might. And they got into it, and in some cases they adjusted their performance accordingly, which was a wonderful surprise. We didn't have a lot of money to cast name talent and that sort of thing. Dana Plato was someone who we were lucky to get.
Well, there's something about Kelly.
Woman's intuition again, huh?
Oh, Victor, you monster. Come on, let's go. We don't want to upset the augers.
All the AUGs were stunt guys with trash bags taped to them. But when the trap went, they had to be in a position where they were balanced, right? Because when they drop through the floor, they've got to be able to do it. How do you move? You do this. So that became the AUG walk. We had to figure out in the shooting how to be most economical. So we generally shot out each environment. The bedroom was one of the first sets we shot, and the lobby or the foyer was one of the last. But most of the continuity, there were so many other issues that continuity like that was the least of anybody's concern.
This guy is really wigged out.
Trying to create an environment where the cast, and to some degree the DP and the lighting guys, really could participate as if they were making a movie. There were other technical restrictions. They were very nervous about things that were too dark. I mean, the way it was originally envisioned was that it was really cool and edgy. And it turned out to be super bright because they were concerned that if it got too dark, that it would pixelate too much. Because the technology was so new and we were right at the edge. What was interesting is we shot Night Trap on 35 millimeter. In fact, Don Burgess was the DP and went on to do Forrest Gump. And not that Night Trap launched his career. I mean, Don Burgess, this brilliant DP, is having to essentially light the room like everything's got neon lights. And we were all unhappy about that. But at the same time, it's the first time it's being done, right? And there were a lot of people involved, and everybody was making their best guess. The shoot was tricky. We shot days and nights, sets and locations. The post was very tricky. I ended up using, I think it was Ediflex at one pass. It was the only way to cut this, because what you end up with, it's a puzzle. Right? So think of it as, a 3D chess game where you're trying to figure out, okay, I got a little piece right there and I got a piece that ties into that. In spite of all of this, it was a title that became very popular with a lot of people, I think primarily because it was one of the first to have real characters, in a real photoreal world.
Sarah, we're in this huge house with all your friends. We have telephones, we have a car, your parents are gone, and you say so?
Come on, Sarah, what's the first thing you think of?
Party!
We had gone through a 3-year period with Hasbro where we looked at the marketplace, we did a ton of play testing, and I don't think it was ever clearly resolved what this thing was. And in fact, when it was ported over to Sega CD, I felt more concerned. Yes, it was being released, but it was being released on a game platform. And sure enough, everybody was going, well, this isn't really a game. I mean, this is an interesting thing, and it's fun. And for a lot of people, they didn't need a heavy interaction. So the live action, real characters was more interesting, at least for a period of time. Night Trap goes out, and still a new market. Nobody quite knows what's going on, and I don't think the sales were that great. And then all of a sudden, there's a Senate hearing on violence in video games. And Night Trap is one of the premier, and I'm just thinking, you're kidding. I mean, because by that time, we had homogenized it down to the simplest things. The only thing that was probably the most violent was the trocar in the bathroom scene.
Megan, this isn't gonna work. You're not scaring me. Wait. What are you doing now?
If you saw the Senate hearing, what it looked like is somebody had just edited out the most violent things from different games, including Night Trap, and put it together and showed it to these guys who, of course, most likely never played video games, so they didn't really understand the market. But what they thought is, my 8-year-old kid is being trained to kill people. If you talk to the kid, he'd go, what are you talking about? This is like not a big deal. So I think what happened is there were selects that were made, including the trocar scene in the bathroom of Night Trap. They said, not only is this violence, not only are you promoting violence to our kids and somehow subconsciously turning them into, violent criminals, but because it's real, it's actually more scary. Up till that time, it was pixelated graphics. And when it became real, I think everybody thought, oh my God, now this is really bad. I don't think there was a lot of understanding of what was going on in the business. I don't think that Night Trap, in comparison to some of the other games that were out at that time, was that violent. It did have its moments, and when you, just like anything, once you take those things and you put them together, you can make anything look like the worst horror film you've ever seen. But thank God, because two things happened. One is sales of Night Trap just went through the roof, and then they came up with the rating system. The irony is that Night Trap is still on the list of most violent games. And you look at what's out there, I mean, there's no comparison. The shower scene, it's not even a shower scene, but the bathroom scene with the trocar, it looks pretty gruesome when you do the close-up and you see the drill going into the neck, and I get that. At least back then it was, considered to be pretty gruesome. But, for some people, you have to look at the OGS as kind of sad. What's happening now is it's worth bringing back Night Trap and some other things just because there are a lot of people that would love to see it in better resolution, and I don't know where the film is. I mean, fortunately, I made a copy of the original timed masters, and those were, again, timed for this unknown world. So everything's bright but even then, you're going to see a lot more contrast and a lot more detail than you did through the Sega CD. I'm hoping that the fans of the game will actually have a newer, fresher experience with the resolution change. I'm also very interested in people that have never been in this world before and don't think of it as a game, and don't think of it as a movie, but think of it as live-action interactives. Today, you say interactive, and it's like, yeah, so what? What specifically do you mean? Your computer's interactive, right? So back then, it was people didn't understand when you said interactive. They really didn't know what that meant. Or they'd have very different ideas about what that meant. So in some ways, that part of it, I think, is going to be fun.